up till today's date, and remember, like this process really hasn't even started. My lawyer fees are $50,000 for the first 3 court appearances and getting me out of jail, not including bail. Like the actual bail I paid was something separate. So to give you an idea as to how much money it costs.
How have you been funding that?
No, I'm not. My plan is I'm firing my lawyers today, and I'm going to defend myself for the rest of this offense or this charge.
You feel like that's a good move?
Not all the moves I make are good or smart, but it's what I have to do. I can't drain my family's wealth because of a bogus charge that I've been thrown at. And part of me doing what I do, I want to stand up for other people that are innocent in jail right now in Trinidad. I'm not saying everyone. Criminals deserve to spend time in jail. But I mean, if you could not afford your bail, like, can you imagine some people have been waiting 7 years for a trial, and because they couldn't afford bail, they're rotting in a jail cell, right? So there's injustices. So freedom is not free in Trinidad.
I tolerate men.
We live in a risky world, Yeah, so I can say. And, we explore.
Men should always spend on a woman.
Appreciation is a big man.
Christmas.
No writing, no nothing. Just off the top of your head.
Huh?
Just off the top of your head.
I'm a conversationist.
I like that.
Yeah, it's natural. It's a natural thing for me,
Yeah.
I've always been a talker. Yeah, them always say me chat too much in school. So
Now you can utilize that.
yeah, like my teachers used to have a lot of problems with me in school.
Yeah,
talking.
me too.
Yeah. The podcast starting.
I'm ready.
Yeah, we've been start, man.
Okay.
People gonna see all of that.
Yeah. I do the same.
Officially, we're here with the man himself, the most controversial man in the history of Trinidad.
Hopefully by the time this is all done, that's not my claim to fame, but yes,
Yeah.
for the time being, I suppose.
So what would you like your claim to fame to be?
I don't know. I don't really strive for fame at all. Truthfully, if I can put together some educational videos that are entertaining, that's my goal. And of course, I want people to watch the video.
Yeah. So your goal is basically entertainment.
Now, education,
Education.
entertainment.
So education while being entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know if education is the proper word, but my concept is to give a voice to those people that are not often heard.
Right.
Yeah.
Now let's go to the beginning of the journey of Christmas List. Let's go back to childhood.
Yeah.
Who is Christmas List? Where is Christmas List from?
Born and raised in Toronto. Not good in school, always in trouble, always talking. Never really enjoyed school. Always an entrepreneur. Like what motivated me to go to school was to like be selling stuff, whether it be chocolates or this little thing. I don't know if you guys know what it's called, like Tamagotchi, little electronic things. I used to always buy stuff in Chinatown and come to school to sell. Got through high school, graduated, had no aspiration of further education at all, and ran every type of business imaginable until COVID hit. And then I decided, like my midlife crisis, let me become a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And that's basically my whole life. Add the fact that I've been married for almost 20 years and I have 3 children as well.
Right. Now, that journey in COVID, what inspired that journey to become a YouTuber in COVID?
I'm from Toronto, and my prime minister came on the news and said all businesses are going to shut down. And at the time I had 3 retail stores. So it wasn't a decision that I made. But I think part of being an entrepreneur is like being able to move. If something's thrown at you, you can't just crumble in defeat, right? So I just came up with a game plan. I'm like, I like to travel. Let me bring a camera and see if people enjoy watching my content.
Yeah. And where did that start? Like, what was the initial stages for?
Yeah, I've been traveling my whole life. So since I was 16, I would save up money and travel the world.
And where was your first trip to?
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Like outside of the USA, Jamaica.
What was that trip like? It was always a dream of yours to travel to Jamaica, or it
No,
was
a
just
friend. In Toronto, we have a big Jamaican community.
right?
So eating Jamaican food and being around Jamaicans was normal to me. So when the opportunity came up, a Jamaican was going back home. He's like, come stay at my house so you can see how, not a hotel or a resort, see how we live in Jamaica. So that was my first opportunity and I jumped at it.
Yeah, and how was that now? Like going to Jamaica
Yeah, at
for
the
the
time
first
I
time.
was
What was
scared.
that experience?
I was scared.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was scared.
Christmas list was scared?
Yeah, man, I was in Spanish Town. There's no tourists.
Yeah.
And there is no white people at all.
Yeah.
Different way of life. You know what I mean? Like growing up in Toronto, you learn one way. And when you're not familiar, when I was not familiar. So no, I wasn't scared. But I mean, reading the newspaper every day, the murders, the crime, it's not something I was used to. So I remember I was just watching my back. But I had no problem there. I think it was my introduction to sort of danger travel. Because Spanish Town has always been a very rough place to visit. So yeah, no doubt there was definitely some fear then.
That something would have happened to you. But how was the trip though? In reality, what was the trip like for you?
Yeah, to be honest, it was not what I expected.
What was it?
As a young kid, I'm a 16-year-old boy. Like you're a child at 16, right? My friend had painted this picture of like every day was going to be something special. When in reality, most of the time we're just sitting at the house.
Doing nothing,
right?
Yeah.
And the house was small. I'd give it like the size of this room and there's probably like 12 people that live there. So even like sleeping on the bed, you're sleeping with the whole family. So it wasn't what I expected. I'll put it that way. But definitely a learning experience.
And you didn't have the money to necessarily get a place of your
That
own.
wasn't the plan though. The plan was to go and live like he was living in his house, right? So.
Oh, so you basically full of head of dreams.
Yeah.
And where did things go from there though? Like when you get back to Toronto?
Yeah, then, I guess like anybody else that gets into travel, do the regular things like Dominican Republic, Mexico. And then I've just found myself wanting something more. Like I'm not into laying on the beach or getting drunk all day and night and then waking up in the morning and doing it again. And that's what I found, like the all-inclusive like the resorts. Yeah, it's very repetitive. So I challenged myself to like, let me go somewhere a little crazier.
And where was that first?
I think it was Paris. Like my first real long flight was Paris. And I went to Paris for 3 days. I remember it was on Boxing Day because there was some $99 special from Toronto. And I ended up spending 2 months traveling through Europe. I didn't want to leave. I didn't realize Europe was so close. I don't think most people realize. Like you can jump on a train from Paris to England and then you can be in Italy the same day. And I didn't realize how close everything was. So I ended up going on a journey through Europe.
Yeah. Now, fast forward to COVID and wanting to become a YouTuber. Where did that journey of a YouTuber begin?
I think I'm a good speaker, but holding up a camera like this in front of people was very challenging for me.
Yeah, like breaking that barrier.
Yeah. Like, man, everyone's looking at me and am I comfortable? Yeah. So I was already traveling. I figured, let me bring a camera. And again, I thought I was going to quit after my first. When I listened to it, I didn't hear myself. I heard me trying to act like something I'm not, or it's a weird thing, this whole social media. I think everybody has to shoot like 100 videos to really find themselves and get comfortable because the real me is talkative.
I like the fact that you said that, because with me, it's just the same. Like, you can't skip the hours you have to put in.
100%.
You literally have to put hours into this before you actually get big, get good at it.
Man,
then you still have to wait to get big.
If you knew about the word I use is hyper obsessed. I wake up in the morning. I got up at 7 this morning and I'm looking at stats. I'm reverse engineering success. And until the time I came here, I'm studying, I'm researching, I'm trying to figure out changing thumbnails, even from a video 2 years ago. Like I'm always trying to find a way to do what I'm doing better. And somebody asked me the other day, I'm like, man, I feel like I'm still in like exhibition season. Like my season hasn't even started yet. I'm at 350,000 subscribers. Like I need another year or two before I find myself, before I get better. and I'm more comfortable. I've only been doing this now 3 years.
Right.
But 3 years is like this. Because I still watch my content and I'm like, wow, I could have asked a better question. Or why did I do that? Why did I hold the camera there? So yeah, it's definitely practice. Too many people want to get in the industry and just think they're going to jump, skyrocket to the top, right? This is a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights.
Yeah.
But people only see the end results. They only see the 100,000 views, the 300,000 subscribers, but they don't know what it took for you to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what was that first trip that you took and you actually shot a video and edit it? Because I'm sure you would have done trips before and video it, but not put it out.
Yeah. Because I was videoing it for my own selfish reasons.
Right.
Like in the past.
Right.
I wouldn't talk. I would just try to remember, you know, like it was boring. Nobody would want to watch that. And the first one I filmed was Greenland. And I'm so embarrassed with the work because Greenland itself has a hell of a story. But yeah, the video is pretty bad. And from there was no views. I still have my first video is like 3,000 views. So it's not like people have gone back and watched it. And then I went to Brazil, the favelas of Brazil. My environment is I get enjoyment out of going to places other people don't go. Okay, people say, yeah, you do it for the views. Man, this is my business, right? like who's the biggest artist in the world right now? If The Weeknd was sitting here, wouldn't you get enjoyment from getting views from your interview, right?
Of course.
That's our whole concept, right? So I went to Brazil and I lucked out.
What's wrong with doing it for the views?
I don't know. I don't take it as an insult.
Everybody on social media is doing it for the views.
Yeah.
Everybody is on social media craving this cloud thing. Everybody wants attention on social media.
Yeah, but if they knew me that I'm a traveler before YouTube.
Right.
I went to the Palestinian conflict 10 years before I had a YouTube channel. I've been covering protests with a film camera. And I would take film photos and I would never show them to anybody. I didn't work for anybody. I would do it for enjoyment because I enjoy doing these things.
Would you say you're an adrenaline junkie?
For sure. In certain circumstances, you're not going to find me climbing any mountain
you
or
have
jumping
different
from
types.
a plane.
Yeah, you're a different type, but you definitely admit to being an adrenaline
100%.
junkie.
Like, I'm the guy, like a true story, like somebody's getting robbed in Toronto and Chinatown, and the guy's running down the street with the woman's purse, and everybody avoids it. And I jump in because I want to give the guy a toss in like the superhero, like save the day. So I don't avoid conflict. I'm the opposite. I enjoy it.
I'm the opposite of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why I can do what I can do. I'm not a pushover. You know, I'm smart enough to know that I can be touched. Like something could happen to me negatively, but I think earning the respect of the neighborhood that I'm in by not being a pushover. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not going to let you take advantage of me.
No, how did you end up in Palestine? Like how do you end up? How does one end up there?
It's me. It's my personality. Like, you know, I Googled in the last 2 years. I Googled the 10 most dangerous places in the world, and I've done 8 of them so far. But Palestine, you know, it's tough even talking about that on this because I don't know if it's going to hurt your audience. I'm a strong believer that every human race deserves freedom, the opportunity to live, inequality. And I've heard for years this conflict in Israel and Palestine. And I'm like, how come the media is only talking about one side? And my first visit to Palestine was probably 15 years ago. So I went there and I'm like, let me see this myself. And on my day 2, just through navigating the streets, I find myself in a place on the West Bank against the big wall that separates Israel and Palestine. And the kids are out there. It's a Sunday with slingshots, and they're shooting rocks from like 2 football fields away towards the wall as a sign of like, because they can't do nothing else. So the kids are there. And I'm thinking, because I'm by myself, like as a parent, why would you let your kids out there? Somebody later told me, like, we're so proud of our children that if they die from this, they'll become a martyr and they're defending our country. So to get to it, what happens is this wall opens up and a big tank start shooting first tear gas canisters towards the kids, and then second, snipers start shooting
At the kids.
at the kids. In the second or third day I was there, one kid died within 100 feet of me, was killed, shot in the head.
Wow.
As I was running through the streets.
Where were you? Like, that sounds like a movie, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So
and I
where
have
were
footage.
you?
So at the time, because it was before I had a channel, what I used to do is just drop this, not this GoPro, but an older GoPro to my chest. One of the first ones. So I have footage of me running through when the snipers are shooting that you can find on my Instagram. So that was my first. So I never had fear.
So while they were shooting, you were on
Yeah.
the side of the kids.
Yeah, running the same direction as the kids were running. So what they do is they smoke bomb you, tear gas you, which I got hit for the first time.
And what was that experience?
Through the commotion, they're sniping kids. It was a very emotional experience, not for myself.
So the kids were shooting back?
No, the kids don't have nothing to shoot back. They're with a slingshot.
So what's the process like? What's the thought process in shooting them?
Well, getting into it, this is what's happening in the world today. It's a genocide. What's happening? Nobody will talk about it because if they talk about it, I'll be labeled as I'm an anti-Semitic. But the truth is, I don't want to see anybody die. And I don't want to see what's happening right now. Every human rights rule and violation has occurred for decades and decades against Palestinians because us Westerners have been taught that Palestinians are terrorists. I don't know if you've met any Palestinians in your life. The Palestinians I met were the kindest, gentlest people I've ever met in the world. I've never met a terrorist. I met quite the opposite. You know, people that are tired of their land being stolen, tired of them not having school. You know, a lot of people don't know about Palestine, but Palestine is bordered by a wall now. There's no airport. There's no police force, okay? In Palestine, you're not allowed to leave. So you have no passport. You can't ever leave. And this wall that surrounds Palestine separates you from water. So although Palestine has beautiful oceans, Palestinians in their lifetime will never see the ocean. It's been taken away from them. Now the world has sat back and watched as this happens today. I saw a stat this morning that 40,000 people so far in Gaza have been killed. When would we allow this? And hey, we've allowed it before. In Rwanda, what happened? The world ignored what was happening.
I mean, when the struggle is black, it's almost as if it didn't happen.
Let's add the word Muslim as well. When it's Muslims are involved. Man, I my goal overall, I'm smart enough to know I'm one man with a camera. I'm not going to change the world. But if I can start bringing my camera into places that normal people don't see, maybe start a conversation with people that are smarter than me, and maybe that can affect some change. You know, to the first person that just looks at my thumbnail, they probably think of me as, well, I hear it all the time. Like you're just going there for views. Man, the first time I was here 2 months. I'm back right now for court. But if I wasn't for court, I would have come back anyway. Like I'm in this deep. I want to understand why Trinidad, such an incredible country with incredible people, is going through such violence. Nobody can tell me. The police can't tell me. Politicians can't tell me. Strangers on the street. And the people killing each other can't really give me a good explanation. So my job with this camera, in my eyes, is just to uncover the neighborhoods and hear the stories that are not often told.
Right. Now, getting back to the journey on YouTube, from that first trip,
Yeah.
you said you eventually went to the favelas.
Yeah.
Now, what was that experience?
Yeah, I feel at home. Like this is where I'm the best. And I lucked out a little bit. My third video in the favelas hit 1 million views.
Wow.
And I wasn't monetized, so I didn't make a penny from it, but it showed me the possibility. It's a video I didn't like. So I ended up deleting the video because it wasn't the brand I wanted to create. It was walking on the beach at Copacabana Beach. So all my videos in the favela, a few of them are touristy type videos. The Copacabana, because all the comments are like looking for girls in bikinis or men's bodies. And I don't want to participate in that. That's not the kind of content I want to create. But from a just a YouTuber standpoint, I'm like, wow, I've only been doing this for a month and I got 1 million views. Let me get this monetized, and I can see a possibility of growing the channel.
No, from Brazil, where was the next trip?
I'm not even too. I know Haiti was one of my.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That did very well.
I remember watching that video with you in Haiti, and that's. I feel like you're a real adrenaline junkie, bro. Like, I wouldn't say you're doing it for the views. I feel like you get a feeling, like you get a rush from.
If there was no camera, I would be doing exactly the same thing.
I genuinely feel like that. So in Haiti, what was your most like life-threatening or dangerous moment?
Man, it's every minute there. But I don't feel it like that.
Because there's no system there.
Yeah. I don't feel it. Like, look, if I'm ever really afraid of a situation, I'm not going to do it. Like genuinely, I'm afraid for my life. I don't want to die. I don't have no death wish. I have a family at home. So I just think that I look at things differently. And most of the time, there's a way to talk yourself out of the problem. But I mean, the whole time there's gunshots there and there's problems.
So, how do you explain to your wife and your 3 kids that I'm going on this dangerous trip?
Yeah. Like, we don't really talk about it, to be honest with you. She knows me long enough. We've been together. She knows that this is me. So you've never brought her on those trips? No. Like to a favela in Brazil? No, nothing like that. We go on trips, like regular human being trips. But I would never bring anybody. So she never tried to discourage you from going to these places? No. I think that's why our relationship has worked as well and as long as it has. I think, being, what people ask me like 20 years, like, how come your relationship works? We don't argue. And the answer is that she gives me the freedom to do what I want. I don't ask for permission. I have friends that are married. They're like, honey, I want to go to the bar tonight because can I go out for an hour? Like, we don't have that kind of relationship. Right. And with buying things as well. She doesn't have to ask me to go buy a new pair of shoes. It's ridiculous. Right. So we respect each other enough to say that she knows I get enjoyment out of this. She would never get in the way of me doing what I enjoy. I'm not hurting anybody, right? No, Trinidad. Let's go to the beginning of your Trinidad trip now. What was the thought process in coming to Trinidad? Or was it one of those top 10 dangerous places on your list? At the time, I don't think it was. I still don't think it is. But my goal is to see every country in the world. Right. No, what was the thought process in coming to Trinidad? Yeah, I just think it's like the audience was asking me to come. Like the comment section were like, Trinidad. They know what type of content I create. So I think the reason they wanted me to come is because the content I shoot is the content. This is what's happening right now. Right. So there was not really much thought process. I just bought a ticket and came. Yeah. And how did you get connected now to do these kinds of content in Trinidad? It depends. Like sometimes I'm just walking into the neighborhood. The first day. So the first day to Trinidad, you just walked into these neighborhoods? My first video was Duncan Street. I just walked in and just talked. And what was that like? How were you received in that neighborhood? Okay. See, you know what? Here's become my problem. I became too known here in Trinidad. It's lost, for me, I've lost the excitement. I like to go to a place where nobody knows me. That's the fun. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if I play basketball against my 10-year-old daughter, it's not really, I'm going to win. Right. Do you get what I'm saying? Right. I want to play against people that are better than me so that I can get better at what I do. Right. So my first day here, nobody really knew who I was. A few people knew, but for the most part, they didn't know. But by day 3 or 4, it's like people are inviting me to the neighborhood. Instead of me just showing up, they're like, you got to come here, you got to come here, you got to come here. So in Trinidad now, how do you get people to go to those extremes, like coming out with the guns? Because, I mean, contrary to what people may think, it's not like this, like that on a regular, with people just walking around. It is like that. Really? Every day. If you're in those type of places. So just to clarify, I don't ask them to bring guns. This is 100% them. I feel very uncomfortable filming people with guns without a mask on. Yeah. So you'll hear me in the video quite often, like, put a mask on. I don't want to be filming you. I don't want to be to blame for people's prosecution. But the response is always like, I'm a bad man. I don't need a mask. Or like, put up the camera. Right?
See, you never thought about blurring out the faces?
Again, if they wanted to be hidden, they would be hidden. Right? When I went to war in Ukraine, I didn't blur out anybody's face. A different type of war. But man, I watched the news on Instagram today. I got 2 guys robbed a jewelry store in Trinidad. No masks on. Like, this is 2024. There's cameras everywhere. You robbed a jewelry store with no mask on? So why are we surprised? Every Trinidad song has guns in it. Why are we so surprised that in my video?
The Trinidad songs, I would say the songs are different.
No, but I'm saying, why are we surprised that there's guns? Every video footage in the news of a murder shows a gun. And if it doesn't show a gun, it shows the evidence that a gun was there. Shot 17 times. Well, there must have been a couple guns. Right? Why are we surprised to see guns? Right. And you know what? These guns are there. No doubt some people bring it out to show off. Like, look, my gang has got more guns than your gang. But remember, I'm seeing a very small percentage of how many guns are actually on the street. Very small percentage.
Definitely. No, what was your goal going into these communities?
No goal. What I call it is just walk and talk. Walk and see. Some communities will lie blatantly and just say, we're a peaceful community, when the stats dictate something other than that. But my job as a journalist is just to walk in and talk to people and share the story. So it's not an agenda. It's not a goal. My job is to do the best thing that I can do. Like, that's as simple as I can put it.
Now, how do you stay protected in these dangerous neighborhoods?
Yeah, I'm a ninja, right? So I'm good.
You're
a ninja.
What?
There's no real reason. Hey, my background is fighting. So I was a wrestler for many years when I was smaller than this, Olympic wrestler. I know how to fight. I don't want to fight. And fighting can often get you killed, but it still gives me a confidence knowing that if I have to, I can defend myself.
Right. No, what was the most dangerous, or the time that you felt the most uncomfortable during that first trip to Trinidad?
Yeah. I believe in aura, like a negative feeling. Sometimes somebody negative can be in this room, even though they didn't show a gun, they didn't show nothing. It's just a negative vibe. I might pronounce it wrong. Maybe somebody can help. It's like Sandy Grandy. We're just in the car driving through this neighborhood. And I'm like, man, we got to get out of here. Something about, it's not that I saw people. It's that I got this sixth sense and I've learned through this type of stuff I do.
In what neighborhood?
Sandy Grandy.
Sandy Grandy.
And I learned when you get that feeling, you listen to it, you go. And in life, that's kept me somewhat safe. Again, nothing in particular happened because I met up with guys before that. I filmed all kinds of guys, all kinds of crazy talk, but it happened after that. There were some guys on the block and just the vibe was wrong. So was I like in a threat to me? No. But I still felt some negativity.
Yeah. So some would say Christmas List is that white guy who pays these guys to do the videos. Is that true?
No. Never paid one of them. I think those people assume, or not even assume, they could be on drugs, first of all. I mean, the people that think that, because YouTube doesn't pay me enough money to be paying anybody. Like, I'm struggling. I'm what they call a struggling artist.
Really?
And I get millions and millions and millions of views. I'm not, a lot of my content is gang or gun related, meaning I don't get monetized.
Right.
I recently shot 2 big videos with Swanee that did pretty well, but his music was playing in the back, so it's copyright infringement. So I'm not making the money that people think. One person's comment was like, oh, you took so much from Trinidad, you should build a school for the kids. And I'm like, build a school? Like, today I ate bread and cheese. Like, they think I'm getting rich from this, when in fact, I could go get a regular job in Toronto at a warehouse and I'd be making
more
money without risking my life. So I want to be 100% honest, because I think my channel, the reason it does well is honesty is there. in a year or two, I want to be making the money that people think I'm making. But right now, that's not the case. I have no sponsors. And not because I'm not getting the views, because people don't want to associate.
Yeah, what you're showing is not advertiser friendly.
Right. So if I showed them, like my best month I've made so far was $20,000 in ad revenue, which sounds great until you start saying, okay, I had 30 days of hotel at $200 a night. And this is Canadian funds. So 20,000 Canadian is like 14,000 US. And my airplane ticket was $1,000. And the airplane ticket back is $1,000. And then taxis. So it's not profit, right? I don't have the money. So to answer I answered very long-winded. No, when I go to a community, I might buy a few guys beers if they ask, but I'm very low budget I don't have the money. Had I been getting paid like Mr. Beast, I would splurge. I would be bringing 100 footballs to the community. I would be buying shoes for everyone.
You know how I know that your thing isn't necessarily the most profitable. Like when I look at the productions, you're not working with a cameraman.
Yeah.
You're not hiring somebody to. For
2 reasons. Like I fear for their life more than I fear for mine.
Oh.
I don't want to be responsible for somebody else. I know what I'm going to do. Something happens, I can look after myself. I was in Belize at a club, outdoor club, and the guy standing this close put his gun like this to me. And then started going like this. And then started shooting up in the air. And everybody started scattering. And I ran faster than anybody. I jumped this big fence. And I thought, like, if I was with somebody and they didn't react properly, or they maybe jumped for the gun, I'm going to be held responsible. I don't want that feeling. I'm a solo traveler. This is what I do best. And second, I couldn't afford. At my size audience, I can't afford to have somebody to work. I'm a struggling artist. And I don't want to say that I make $20,000 every month. That was an example of my best month. An average month could be $8,000 to $10,000. And that's not profit. It doesn't take into consideration all the travel expenses, which are many.
So how do you stay afloat though?
It's a struggle right now. And it's through years of success before YouTube that allows me to do what I do. Because I went from making a lot of money, doing different businesses, to struggling. And it's affected my family. Like people don't see this side of it. Like 2 of my 3 children went to private school. This year, I can't afford to send them to private school. So their whole life, they've gone to private school because we felt like education was the most important thing. And this year, we're like, we don't have the money.
So how do you justify that to your wife?
It's like you have a dream. We eat every day. So we're privileged to eat every day. I have a passport that allows me to follow my dreams. I'm a strong believer in dreams. Like when you really want something, you work hard for it, you can get it. So, we've taken, instead of going and buying new shoes every day like I used to, it's just, there's budgets. But I'm following my dream. I'm a happy man. I'm doing what I love. Not many people can say that they're doing what they love. And again, I know as the audience grows, if I can hit 1 million, when I hit 1 million subscribers, life will change.
Right.
So I'm working towards that goal right now.
No, back to the Trinidad trip now. Were you aware that you're on the radar of the police?
For sure. 100%.
No, what was it like? No, or what happened when? What led to the point of you being arrested in Trinidad?
Yes, I don't know the inner workings from like behind the scenes. But I met police on the street every single day when I'm out. I was at a club last night. Police were coming up to me, shaking my hand, saying what you did was great. Forget about the nonsense. So what caused it? Someone in the higher powers was upset at the content I was creating. They don't want to show a negative side of Trinidad, even though that negative side exists. It's easier.
Would you blame them though?
100%. Who else do we blame?
No, would you blame them for not wanting that side of their country to be shown?
Fix the problem. Who's responsible for fixing the problem? Use an example. I'm from Toronto. We have a fentanyl problem. Every day in my city, like 20 people die of fentanyl overdose. So if you come to Toronto and you see people dying on the street and you take a picture and you put that on the news and you're like, the drug addiction here is a problem. And I see that article, I agree with the article. I said, we do have a problem. Our parks that used to be beautiful parks, are tent cities where thousands of people are living homeless summer, winter, snow in our parks. Now, if you come there and you put on social media, Toronto looks like hell. Guess what I say? Toronto has a real problem. Okay, we have a problem. I'm in the USA all the time. Some of the worst things I've ever seen in my life are in the USA. See the difference between the USA and Canada? We know we have a problem. The government's not doing anything to fix it, but the Caribbean, all the Caribbeans that I've been to, they're so, the pride is so strong that they don't want the world to know their problems.
But the world knows our problems.
No, they don't. Then why would the government be upset?
I think it's like an open secret.
But what, out of the content that I filmed, what's surprising? The death rate is there. You can see the numbers on the news every day. I can watch Trinity News and look on Instagram and follow all the news and see exactly what I'm posting every day. The difference is that news is created for people of Trinidad, where my content is created for the world. Everybody watches my content. Mm-hmm. So are they embarrassed? Yeah. But guess what happens? Fix the problem. Mm-hmm. Fix the problem. Mm-hmm. And I'm not blaming the government solely, but the government has a hand in it, right? The communities have to come together and fix themselves as well. Mm-hmm. The parents have to better parent the children. And it's not easy to hear, but that's life. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. Me going to Palestine or Ukraine and seeing dead bodies in the street, it's not easy, but it's real. So I think putting people on camera, the reason I'm respected in the community when I walk through the neighborhood is that, Chris, nobody has ever come to hear our side
of the story.
Of this.
So do you feel like they're not embarrassed at the showing of the guns, but it's more of that side of the story being told?
Like when we say they, I don't know who they is.
The system.
But
are those who locked you up?
So most of the system applauds what I do because I meet them every day. Military, police, full attire will stop and come and appreciate what I do.
The police.
So I'm saying it's not the police.
I don't think, no. When we say the system,
yeah,
I don't mean the police. The police are regular people, you know.
Yeah.
There's a misconception that the police are the system.
Right.
The police are tools of the system. Right. They're not the system. Them are regular hardworking people doing their job.
That we will never know.
On the higher ups,
yeah.
I hope the ladder is where no would say.
Yeah.
Is the system.
But I mean, it only takes one person to be like, I don't like what this guy's doing. Mm-hmm. My mindset, my general, just as a somewhat intelligent person, I think I was put in jail to be set as an example so other people won't come and do the same type of content. Mm-hmm. That's plain and simple. Mm-hmm. But you know, in the 40 videos I uploaded, 10 of them were gang related, 30 of them were not. Mm-hmm. Right? We don't talk about the other 30 cultural videos I did to help promote Trinidad. We only, people get attracted to shiny guns. We don't talk about when I was at the festival, or when I'm showing the food, or when I did a peace march for the mothers that had their kids murdered. Mm-hmm. Nobody talks about that when I'm at the front of they're crying with the mothers. Mm-hmm. They want to look to blame somebody. And instead of blaming the people with the guns or the people that are supposed to be looking after the people with the guns, I'm easy to blame. Yeah, it's like, look at this guy. He came here. He's making us look bad. And I was talking with Wayne today. The steel drums. I went to the 3 biggest steel drums, which was an exciting video.
I watched that video.
And it's my worst viewed video.
I watched that video.
Because people want to watch the guns. Mm-hmm. People want to watch what they normally don't see. And, even the prime minister here, his speech exactly is like, he didn't use my name, but do you blame him for shooting the content that people want to see? This is what people want to see. They want to know what's happening in these communities. And nobody else is going to go in there, so I went inside. Mm-hmm. And the guys that do go in, they went in for a day, they leave. To me, they're not me. I upload in real time because I'm proud of my work. I'm not scared to walk through the streets. I walk through the streets. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When I leave a country, I want to be loved, not hated. So for those guys that come in for a day or two, go right into Laventille, film it, and then dip and leave, those people are taking advantage of the situation. They don't care about anything but themselves and their views. And I'm not one to put these people down because everybody in life decides what they want to do themselves. But me and Trinidad, the relationship I have in Trinidad is forever. Assuming I can return after this whole court nonsense is done, I will continue to come back forever. Because it's more than me creating one video. I'm creating videos every day.
Right. And it's evident because the fact of the matter is you could have just stayed in Canada and not come back. And I don't think there is an extradition treaty.
There is.
From Canada to Trinidad?
Yeah, there can be. There's ways around it, but the bottom line is I'm a fighter by nature. You give me a bullshit charge, I'm gonna fight it. I don't want that on my mind.
Right.
So,
no, take me back to being arrested now. What was it like? Like, how did they approach you to arrest you? Where were you approached?
Knock on the door, 6:30 or 7 in the morning, with a warrant for my arrest.
And what was the reason for your arrest?
At the time, it was all gang-related charges. So
you were a gang member.
Yeah.
You were labeled a gang
promoting
member.
a gang, aiding and abetting a gang, profiting from a gang, maybe a few others. A long list. And working without a proper work permit.
Working.
So they brought me in, questioned me for 24 hours, realized they couldn't stick me with any of those charges. So they threw me sedition charge.
What's that?
Sedition, in very simple terms. Well, what they have to prove in court is that I came to Trinidad under the intention to create havoc amongst the people.
But how have your videos created havoc amongst people?
It hasn't. Right? And there's no evidence. Abu Bakr, right, was the notable person, probably one of Trinidad's most famous people.
Of all time.
That, I've had the pleasure to talk to his son quite a few times. And he was also part of the march for the mothers of murdered children. His father came on TV and said, let's do this. And they overturned a portion of the government with guns. He was charged with sedition. So to compare me look, I can't tell you why they decided to arrest me for sedition.
You're not arrested for sedition. Sedition is the charge.
The charge.
To save face.
Right. But when I go to people in these communities and ask them, what's wrong? And everybody says the same thing. The government. It's almost like they called each other and say the same answer.
It's rare.
But they can't because they hate each other. But the same thing over and over again. So the government sees this and the government's let me, one of the articles in the newspaper is don't shoot the messenger. You get what I'm saying? How did I didn't say anything. If you listen to my video, every video is how do we bring peace to this community? I'm not there to try to overturn a government. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to undercover. It's just so ridiculous to me. I can't even fathom. But the truth is, they know this is going to stretch on years and years and years. And it's am I going to give in? Am I going to take a plea bargain or something? No, I'm too strong. They don't realize who they thought when they arrested me that I was just going to go hide in my Airbnb and shut up. And the truth is, I'm out on the street every day. Their warning was don't leave.
So you were arrested, then released?
Released after a week. I did a week in jail.
And what was that week like in jail?
Hell, no human wants to go, no normal human wants to spend time in jail. You know what I mean?
How were you treated in jail? Did those in jail know you and know of your work?
Yeah.
So how were you treated by them? Exceptionally
good by everyone. No thought of danger or anything like that. Because everybody knew who I was. It was they were privileged to be sharing a cell with me. And plus, the one rule in tradition, I don't know if it's like this in other countries, but you're allowed to get food. So I was getting anywhere from 20 to 30 meals a day. Fans bringing me hot food and friends bringing me hot food. So everybody in the whole holding cell. So I would share. Obviously, I couldn't eat the food.
You couldn't eat everything. So
no,
you shared.
And I wasn't eating anyway because there's one toilet and sometimes there's 15 people in your cell. I was trying to eat bread. I didn't want to eat anything that was too sloppy because I didn't want to be on the toilet. You know what I mean? So I got to share, even with the guards were eating with us. So I think I got a privilege that the average person didn't get because people knew who I was. So, but it was dirty. It was filthy. There's no light. And when I was inside, they gave my embassy. I said, can I have anything to read? And she's like, all I have is like the Charter on Human Rights written by Nelson Mandela. So it's like this big, thick document about how prisoners are supposed to be treated during imprisonment. So I sat there and reading it, and I'm like, okay, you're supposed to get to see the daylight at least 1 hour a day. But even if you're not outside, you got to be able to see a window. There's a whole like lights like this need to turn off at night so your body knows like it's nighttime. So basically, like every rule you're supposed to have, the lights are like this 24 hours a day. So you're trying to sleep. There's no cot. You're sleeping on the concrete ground. Sometimes there's 2 people in your cell. Sometimes there's 18 people, right? You know, there's no blanket. There's bugs around. There's piss all over there's pee, urine. The walls have.
Here, you know?
I don't know if I could curse.
You say anything here on the perspective.
Yeah, because the wall has shit. It's like because there's no toilet paper. So it's like they put their shit and they've got smears. So I mean, it's a dirty place. I don't want people to feel bad for me. Criminals, I'm not looking for luxury, but I mean just some common human rights for people that when we're there, we're not guilty yet, right? Everybody there has been arrested, but nobody has been found guilty. So there are people there that are innocent of their crime, you would think. So I mean, that's
the condition.
Yeah, and
so you've already been punished. From being there for 1 day,
man,
you're punished.
I read a story afterwards that people said when put in jail, the first 6 days determines if you're going to make it mentally or not. Because I saw some guys in there for some charges, like with guns, that were crying, that were hitting their head against the wall, that like they screaming for mommy all day, all night. So it's not you got to be mentally strong to be in a cell like that, not knowing how long you're going to be. You know, when you're sentenced, I can't speak because I've never gone through that. But I mean, when you don't know how long you're going to be there, it's pretty scary not knowing how long you're going to be in those gates.
No, you run those 7 days. What happened next? Like, what you were charged and given bail?
Yeah. My first bail hearing, I got granted bail, and I was allowed release. So the sort of regulations or rules were 100,000 TT bail. I had to live with my surety, which is a lawyer. I had to remit my passport to the government. And I had to sign in once a week to a police station.
Yeah, and they kept your equipment.
They still have my equipment now. Yeah.
Now coming back out to those big applauds, and if you were not viral in Trinidad before, I mean, no, you were like basically, what you call it, a folk hero of the people.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Like Christmas lists blow up beyond your wildest imagination in Trinidad now. What was it? No, what was that like? No.
Yeah, incredible. You know, when I was in jail, I didn't think about it. I didn't think about like what would happen when I got out. But when I got released from the Arima jail, and I was walking to the paddy wagon, and I saw the flashes of like paparazzi. I'm like, for real, like I had no idea. I didn't even think about it. And they were waiting there, snapping photos. I can't lie. Look, I don't do YouTube because I want fame, but it feels ridiculously good knowing that 99% of the public has my back. Some people are getting tired of the story because I get the comment like, okay, Chris, stop talking about Trinidad. But I mean, the people that I meet in the street every day, even on the airplane yesterday coming in, man, so supportive. It feels really, really good.
No, you continued to do the same type of content after being released?
Not really. Like I'm still filming with a camera. But no, I wasn't filming guns. No, but the sedition charge I have has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with something I published.
So why not continue to it?
Man, first of all, I don't want to get people in trouble. Like it's hot right now. I was hot. You know, people were the police were looking for any reason to throw more charges at me. So I'm not stupid enough to say like I'm going to sacrifice my life to get another video. So that's why. In other countries, I continue to film exactly what I was filming. That didn't change.
So you don't fear that reoccurring? Like, don't you fear another country seeing what happened in Trinidad and
I
doing
can't
the same
live
thing?
my life like that, man. And just using the example, like if you get in a car accident, you could quit driving for the rest of your life. Or you can be like, well, let me just be a little bit more precautious, but an accident could still happen.
Right.
So no, the opposite. From there I went and filmed Prince Swanee in Florida.
How did you get connected to Prince Swanee?
This gentleman here, this overly sized gentleman known as Johnny Bravo. Mm-hmm. He was one. And the gentleman I'm living with, CJ, my surety, was his lawyer in the past. So he made it happen as well. Mm-hmm. But in that example, when I was in the parking lot filming, everybody had guns. They all pulled out their guns.
Well, guns are illegal in America.
Right. But I didn't even put that in the video. Oh. I edited it out because I don't need to be showing guns. I never ask people to show me their guns. Mm-hmm. I can do good videos without guns. Mm-hmm. It's the stories, man. I don't need the guns. Mm-hmm. Guns don't excite me.
I feel like it's definitely the stories. It's not even the editing. It's not the production. No. It's just the stories people are attracted to you from.
And let me be clear. Guns are legal, not illegal.
In America.
And it wasn't Swanee with the guns, but just the people surrounding had guns. Yeah.
Right. Now, as it relates to Trinidad now, what I discovered from being here is that since COVID, the courthouses have been closed down. So courts are not happening in person. Do you think it's willful for them to require art? What is it that they demanded that you come to Trinidad for the court cases?
Yeah.
So do you think they're willful with that?
It's ridiculous. Right. So I come to Trinidad to turn on a webcam to virtually appear in court, but I still have to be here in the country when that happens.
Why? What's the explanation you've gotten for that?
No explanation. Just do it. Like Nike said, just do it. Right. So yeah, that's why I'm back right now.
And you're required to stay here until the court case is called?
So it's not a trial or anything. It's just a court date, a court appearance. It'll probably be 5 minutes long, no longer. But the problem is I have to submit my passport before the court. So tomorrow I'll have to go downtown and give them my passport. Mm-hmm. Now, in court, I have to then request for a bail variation to get my passport back. So even though the court appearance might be 5 or 10 minutes, I might be stuck here a couple weeks waiting for permission to get my passport back so I can then leave and do the whole song and dance again next court appearance. Mm-hmm. They're trying to stretch this on as long as possible and make me spend as much money as possible because flights are not cheap. It cost me 1,000 Canadian dollars to fly here yesterday.
Wow. No lawyer fees and so on.
Yeah.
What kind of lawyers do you have?
Yeah, ridiculous fees. Ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Up till today's date, and remember, like this process really hasn't even started. Mm-hmm. My lawyer fees are $50,000 for the first 3 court appearances and getting me out of jail. Not including bail, like the actual bail I paid was something separate. So to give you an idea as to how much money it costs.
How have you been funding that?
No, I'm not. That it depends when you're going to upload this video to tell you what will happen moving forward. But
well, we can upload this whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Well, my court's Friday, so as long as it's after Friday. So my plan is I'm firing my lawyers today, and I'm going to defend myself for the rest of this offense or this charge.
You feel like that's a good move?
Not all the moves I make are good or smart, but it's what I have to do. I can't drain my family's wealth because of a bogus charge that I've been thrown at. And part of me doing what I do, I want to stand up for other people that are innocent in jail right now in Trinidad. I'm not saying everyone. Criminals deserve to spend time in jail. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you could not afford your bail, like, can you imagine some people have been waiting 7 years for a trial, and because they couldn't afford bail, they're rotting in a jail cell, right? So there's injustices. So freedom is not free in Trinidad. That's going to be my slogan. Last time I had freedom is a must on my shirt. I'm going to have to get some shirts made. Freedom is not free in Trinidad, where lawyers are gouging extorting is a good word, trying to extort me as a tourist or outsider, I can't afford $50,000 US. And that's not even to get me to the next court hearing. That's
so is it that you have to pay those fees from before? Like the $50,000 is monies that have been accumulated from before, or
accumulated for what though?
For getting you out of jail.
Right. So I've had three court appearances virtually.
Mm-hmm.
My lawyers have come to 2 of them. Each of them were 5 minutes. So like what accumulation are we talking about? Like my first lawyer for my first bill is a different lawyer.
So how did they justify that?
They haven't. And that's the reason I can't work with them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they came to me right now and said they'll work for free, I'm not interested in working with people I don't trust. So this is about more than if this is right or wrong. This is about me making a stand for what I believe in. There's no evidence I've done anything wrong. You know, some people are like, well, Chris, you should understand the laws before you go to a country. It's such a ridiculous statement when I've been charged with something that doesn't make sense. This law itself of sedition is over 100 years old. So before TVs or before cameras or before iPhones, this law is like non-existent, like it doesn't even make sense.
And what are you facing? Like what kind of sentence?
Like maximum is 2 years in jail. Doesn't mean if I'm found guilty, I'm given 2 years, but that's the maximum. But again, they have to prove that I came to Trinidad with the intention. And if you watch my videos, it doesn't take a highly intelligent man or woman to say, oh, Chris keeps asking for peace in the community. My intention is not to stir up or to get the government overturned. Mm-hmm. Never once in any video did I mention, like, go to the Parliament building or whatever the buildings are called here with your pitchforks. And that's not the kind of character I am, right? I'm just asking people their opinion. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the one to judge. If you say you're unhappy with the government, what am I supposed to edit that out? Or me as a journalist, I'm supposed to keep in what people are saying.
Right.
Right? I don't determine what you say. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what not to say. Mm-hmm. Tell me from your heart. What are you upset with? And if you're upset that in one neighborhood, they haven't fixed the concrete stairs that go up 200 meters, the stairs are falling apart and elderly need to walk up and down there every day. If you're telling me you're upset that the government has not fixed that, you have the right to have that thought. That's your community. Mm-hmm. I'm going to share with the world what you said. Mm-hmm. So for the government to blame me for publishing information like that is just ridiculous. It's what more can I say? It's ridiculous. Right. The police arrested me, said it's ridiculous, but they said it's not in their power. They just got to listen to the higher ups and follow through with what they've been told to do.
Mm. So now what's next for Christmas, Liz?
Well, court on Friday. Mm. Continue to film content along the way. Hopefully I'm granted my passport so I can go home and continue to travel the world.
And how long this trip is supposed to be in Trinidad? Granted that you'll be getting back your passport.
Just depends on how long. Because even last time they gave me my passport back, but then they said I need you back in like 3 days for another court appearance. Mm. And it didn't make sense for me to go home to come back for 3 days. Like, it doesn't make sense. So on Friday, I'll find out when my next court appearance is. Mm. And presuming it's not in 3 or 5 days and I can get my passport back, then I'll be on the first flight out.
And what's that next trip for Christmas?
I don't know.
List?
I don't know. See what happens. I really try to take step by step. I got to deal with what's happening now here, and then make that deciding where I'm going to go next.
Right. So is there anything else you want to talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago?
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing your audience is global.
Well, my audience is predominantly St. Kitts Nevis, and I have questions about St. Kitts Nevis I'd like to ask you. So do you know, are you aware of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything more about it, no. Yeah. When I was with Swanee, one of his right-hand men there from St. Kitts, an artist there.
Yeah, Nichabi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we spent some time together, but no, I don't know anything else.
So you would, I mean, St. Kitts is not that violent, so you wouldn't be down to travel there.
Follow under that. My videos have nothing to do with violence.
Well, I'm inviting you to St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah, I'd love to
go. It's a beautiful place. It's not just St. Kitts.
Yeah.
It's also Nevis. It's just like Trinidad and Tobago.
So 2 islands.
It's like, it's like a mirror of Trinidad and Tobago, but it's unique in a lot of ways. So we have St. Kitts, which is the bigger island, which that country have the vibes, like the more you would see more nightclubs, bigger population and so. And then you have Nevis, which is like Little Heaven, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything is different about Nevis. There's
I'm going-
the mountain goes straight up in the clouds.
Man, I can
It's
see.
like Little Heaven.
Hopefully, the
man.
camera can see. You got a smile. I can tell you're very proud of your country.
Of course, man.
His whole face lit up.
No,
We
listen.
should have talked about this in the beginning.
Yeah, my place, that one.
Yeah.
Nevis and St. Kitts. Them say St. Kitts and Nevis, but it's Nevis and St. Kitts to me. I'd like to see you in St. Kitts one of these days. St.
Yeah.
Kitts, Nevis one of
100%.
these days, man.
Well, I'm on a mission to see every country in the world. So I've done 128 countries so far. So I need to go in order to complete my
Yeah, man.
mission. So
Put St. Kitts and Nevis.
no, it's
on
there.
the
It's
list.
already there.
Because we recently concluded the Culture Armor, which is Nevis Carnival, quote unquote. And in the end of the year, like end of December, there is St. Kitts Carnival.
Mhm.
So put St. Kitts on your list, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
And
you
I
in
want to
St.
be
Kitts.
100% clear with my content. I'd say maybe 10% of my content I film is like gang related. 90% is not.
Right.
So I don't only go to countries that have gang issues. No. My intention is every country in the world.
For the St. Kitts, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Beautiful people, good vibes.
Yes.
We have a growing music scene too. Unique in every way, shape, and form.
Amazing.
I'd like to see you in Nevis specifically.
100%.
It's a majestic place. I'm going to show you some pictures.
Yeah.
I tell you, the island, it goes up in like one mountain, and at the top of the mountain, there is always clouds on it.
Okay.
It's a real majestic
He's a
place.
happy man. I don't know if you guys can see that behind the
Can't
camera.
wait, no. I can't wait to go back home, man. See my little boy, because I have a Nevision son, you know.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I was adopted by St. Kitts Nevis.
Okay.
Yeah, as a Jamaican, I will always say, anywhere I go,
Yeah.
Nevis is home. There's nowhere else in the world that's home like Nevis, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, big up everybody from St. Kitts and Nevis. This
Yes.
has been another amazing episode of the Perspectives podcast. I mean, Christmas list, wish you all the luck on your journey, you know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
hope,
Thank you.
hope Friday when you go out, them say, oh, done with it. And I think I'm going to put out this Friday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put out
You're the
this
boss.
Friday.
You're the
Yeah, I'll
boss.
drop this Friday. So look out for all the other amazing interviews in Trinidad. I mean, Trinidad have one of the most interesting cultures. It reminds me, not just with the music, but Trinidad reminds me so much of Jamaica. Like, it's a vibe, man.
Very
Trinidad.
similar. Yeah.
There, man. Love alone. Out.
Yes.
Hoy, and I said nobody now believe it. Huh. Well, if them here say I beat it. Me and the pastor, me not go preach it to how we all it down. Yeah, man, it's Dejour, and I mean, giving you a different perspective on Perspectives Media. Easy.
Perspectives Media.